This video is for our kindergarten through 4th grade team for December week 2. Our virtue for this month is Christmas, celebrating Jesus, God's greatest gift. And our memory verse for the month is, today in the town of David, a Savior has been born to you. He is the Messiah, the Lord. Luke 2:11. So last week we ended our Old Testament story by showing that God always had a plan because he predicted the Messiah, the coming of Jesus, hundreds of years before Jesus came. Well, this week we are leaping into the New Testament in Luke chapter 1, where we find Zechariah, Elizabeth, and Mary. Zechariah and Elizabeth were older, and it seemed impossible that they'd ever have a child of their own. But one day, an angel came to Zechariah and told him that he would have a son, and that son would prepare the way for the promised one, Jesus. The angel also came to visit a young woman named Mary. No one would have guessed that God would use Mary to bring that promise of the Messiah to fulfillment, including Mary herself. Mary was awestruck when the angel came to announce that she was about to have a child who would be the Savior of the world. So our bottom line this week, anything is possible with God. We will face some difficult moments throughout our lives, but no matter what we face, we can trust God and remember that God can do anything. God may still allow us to go through whatever we're facing, but God will be with us and will give us what we need to get through it. So, your leader guides are all out in the hallway still because I'm a bit of a hot mess from Christmas Jam this week, as you can see based off all of the boxes that are out here. But I do have everything ready to go. So we'd love for you to join us at 8:20 and 10:20 in the garage room for coffee and donuts and prayer. Then just make sure that you are to your small group area by 8:30 and 10:30 so that you're ready to roll when kids come in. Let's see, this week as kids roll in, you can have them check in, play with toys. Make sure you ask them their name. Maybe ask them what's on their Christmas list for this year. And then we've got this coloring page for this week. Anything is possible with God with Gabriel on it. So kids can do that also. Then when service starts at 9 and 11, if you'd like to, you've got a little animal charades game in one set of the bags that will be on your cart. So there's a bunch of different pictures. I think there's 11 different animals that are in here on the bags. Kids can pull them out one at a time to act them out, but here's the big thing. They may not talk or make any noise. That makes it really hard to act out animals. So give each kid 30 seconds to act out their animal. If kids are unable to guess, set that picture to the side and choose the next kid. If there's time at the end, go back and do the unguessed animals. And then just close by saying something like, it was really hard to act out some of those animals. Do you guys think it would have been easier to guess which animal you were if you could talk? Well, probably. Let's head to large group and hear a story about someone who couldn't talk for a while. Zechariah actually was not able to talk for a while. So then at 10 after, you're going to head down to large group. When large group is over, you're going to come back to your rooms and you can get out snack. You're going to gather kids in a circle, ask for prayer requests, and ask kids to list some words for how it makes them feel knowing that God can do the impossible. And then you can just write some of those words down here. And then you're going to close down in prayer. And if you read this little prayer, you don't have to, but part of this prayer inserts some of the words that the kids said about how it makes them feel knowing that God can do the impossible. Then you can practice your memory verse with the kiddos, do those motions, show them how to look it up in the Bible, have them read it from the Bible, just showing them that it does come from the New Testament, which is the part of the Bible after Jesus is born, the new covenant. Show them how to find the book of Luke, big 2 for chapter 2, little 11 for verse 11. Then for our kindergarten through first graders, you're just going to practice the memory verse with the motions. You can split kids into 2 groups and have them practice together and then perform their memory verse for each other. For our 2nd through 4th graders, you can put on some Christmas music through your phone, or you can use the TV in your room and go to YouTube and just put on some Christmas music. You're going to stop the music and have kids find the number 1 on the floor. The number 1 on the floor looks like this, today in the town of David. So you're going to practice that. You can practice it with the motions. You're going to put the music back on, and while the music is playing, they're going to sing, kind of dance around saying, today in the town of David, today in the town of David. Then stop the music, have them find the number 2 in your room. A Savior has been born to you. Same thing, turn the music on. They'll practice all of this together. Then stop the music. They'll find number 3. They can sing around, say the whole thing. Then they'll find number 4. So you're going to spread those out just around your room. The kids will gather around the different numbers. And at the end, hopefully you can challenge them by saying the whole thing all together. So that's for the memory verse. Then the last little activity is a little guess who activity. So you've got these little things that will be on the bottom of your cart. One says Elizabeth, one says Zachariah, one says Mary. You're going to spread those out on your table or on the floor. And then in this bag, you've got all different little phrases. So kids can take turns picking one out. Obviously, for our kindergartners and first graders, you're probably going to have to read it for them. It says, as he stood before the temple, an angel appeared to him. Well, any of them that say he are going to be pretty easy. There's only one boy. That's going to be Zachariah. So the kid is going to go and put it underneath the Zachariah label. The next kid will come up, pick another tag. She became pregnant at a very old age. They would put that underneath the Elizabeth name. Just keep going until you run out of cards. And then you can close by saying something like, what surprised you guys about today's story? And you can pause, let kids answer that, and say, it's a crazy and amazing story. While God's people were captive, God spoke through prophets about the great rescuer that God would send them. But then, hundreds of years later, the people didn't hear from God. And I imagine they must have wondered if God still loved them and had a plan for them. Hundreds of years later, we saw how God's rescue plan played out. Mary thought she wasn't ready to have a baby, and Elizabeth thought she was too old to have a baby, but both of them ended up having one. Why was that possible for them? That's right, it was possible because of God. Everyone who heard the news about Elizabeth and Zachariah having a baby were filled with amazement. They wondered what the baby would grow up to do because God made the impossible happen. So I'm thankful that because of who God is, we don't have to be afraid or sad about things that seem totally impossible. Anything is possible with God. And that is our bottom line for today. So that's it, guys. Thank you so much for serving. Here's our picture for our timeline for this week. The angel visits Mary. I am so, so grateful for all of you. If this is your last time serving before Christmas, I hope you have a wonderful, amazing Christmas holiday season. So grateful for all of you, and we'll see you on Sunday.